Off by trolling Jjonak, refusing to let him heal him. He'll sit back and deliver the nano boost when it needs to happen. Safe positioning, Jjonak. Oh, he gets dumped upon Color Hex. Oh, very cheeky. No! What? Oh, that's a yikes.
What's going on, everybody? It's Frito here for Your Overwatch. Today, we're going to break down the biggest, most insane plays from the Overwatch League in Week 1 and take a look at what we can learn from these incredible players. You may have been surprised to see quite a lot of Genji, actually, despite how good anti-Genji things are in the metagame, but in truth, I think dive can work if one of the two conditions are met. Either A, you can isolate or straight up out-mechanic your opponent, or B, you're on the type of map or game mode where winning in the mid-fight typically doesn't happen anyway. Dive Comp's ultimates are really winning out in the metagame thus far, and with Dive's mobility, you can avoid taking a commitment fight, set up, surround, poke to get your ultimates, and then run it down mid with a big, angry Nano Blade. But keep that in mind, the playstyle comes at the cost of mid-fight ease of use to have a very big power spike in the ultimate phase. And due to that difficulty, it often requires one of your squishy characters to make a big play, and here we're going to break down Jjonak completely owning the enemy flanking Reaper with absolutely pristine gameplay coming out from the Season 1 MVP. Let's take a look in slow motion. You can see Jjonak, with no help around him whatsoever, is trying to move up to support his team, but you can tell by his crosshair placement that he's trying to sniff out the Reaper flank. He's expecting him to pounce from the high ground. Color Hex surprises him from coming down low and quick taps the Wraith form to dodge the Sleep Dart, which is about as good as the Reaper player could play this year, but the secret was Jjonak always knew what his escape was, and it was getting to the mini health pack. Landing an offensive shot, then the anti-nade is going to give Jjonak a heal buff and remove Reaper's ability to heal himself, which means he couldn't get the pack anyway, meaning Jjonak can casually walk right over it, get the heal buff, and win the duel. Special shout out to Animo with super fast reaction times to come in to secure that this duel was going to be won with the long distance Guardian Angel extending from the frontline dive to the back. But I think Jjonak had it either way. What an outrageous play. And the trick there, support players, is managing your cooldowns up against the Reaper, knowing that he only can dodge one, but also making a mad dash towards that health pack, as health pack control is one of the biggest ways to win duels in Overwatch. And the next one, we just had to cover this. Near the end of this Oasis game, both the Shock and the Fuel were battered and bruised. And this clip, Striker and Architect break the Dallas Fuel fans' hearts with this outrageous clutch play. So how did this work out? Well, Shock at this point doesn't have a May of their own, which means Dallas is going to be able to win the up-close brawl battle pretty easily, and committing the sound barrier, they run over the front line and win the point. With the game on the line, Decay leaves the main angle to roll into a flank and finds an injured Striker in front of him, nails 2 body shots, and in that second, Striker pulls a massive juke. Don't underrate the movement here, because you can tell from his camera movement that he notices Decay's on the flank, fakes like he's going inward towards the point, and then rolls back out, committing to the duel. This is a massive high-risk maneuver. And honestly, if Architect doesn't hit the nano boost immediately, Decay would have had time to hit the third and final body shot and eliminate Striker in the open field of view. I can't stress this enough. Looking like you're going to go around cover into safety, then juking back out into the open. There's no way Decay would have expected him to do that. But worse yet, with the nano boost and the 50% damage amp, as well as full health to boot, a headshot is going to deal 210 damage from McCree's Peacekeeper, one-shotting Decay, deleting Doha with a 2-tap, and chipping down Trill, forcing the front line to back off. That was 3 headshots in 6 shots, and what's more, honestly, I think Decay was winning the McCree matchup up to this point. Striker took a bit to warm up, but when he did, he made the biggest clutch play of the week. Actual DPS duels are back finally in the pro level of Overwatch. The headshots, of course, were nutty, but the movement to take a massive risk to roll into the line of sight of the flank is what blows me away, and of course, all made possible by Architect hitting the timing on the nano boost. If that doesn't come through, the Dallas Fuel probably take this series to a map 5, because they did end up taking one of the 3 maps. Shock may have won the day, but this clip was pretty funny. Kind of felt like some of these top teams were styling on their opponents with their off-meta signature heroes. Here, Sinatra gets the nano boost, first, and Fuel appropriately backs off the fight to avoid it, and closer on the Lucio, peels back to make some distance between Sinatra and his team. This boop sending Sinatra slightly off course, I think, so when he backpedals, he blinks a little bit too much into traffic and gets run over. One of the silliest kills of the week for sure. Always look both ways before you cross the street, kids. Backing into traffic, probably not a great idea. How about some tank plays for you guys? Everyone likes good tank play. Fissure fitting right in with the ultimate clutch factor that Vancouver likes to bring. This is a team fight that's going south, but in an instant, Fissure is going to exploit the poor execution of the enemy tank line, using Shatter too quickly before the bomb forces Fissure to turn his shield. And really all the kiting Fissure did kind of outdid the sound barrier too. So honestly, this is like 3 ults for 1 Rhine shield in terms of team fight management. Sneaking in the Earth Shatter to deny the remech essentially gets this kill, even though the May wall stops the Fire Strike follow-up. And poor Gig, welcome to the Overwatch League, buddy. Even with a man disadvantage, pounce onto the main tank, make him crumble, and the rest of the team fight collapses around him. This meta has a lot of these swing back plays where there's so many dangerous abilities that mere man advantage isn't winning team fights alone. You have to complete the entire team fight without making a mistake, or else your opponents can use their resources to make big plays back on you, which is making this meta quite fun to watch, even if it is pretty brawly. Fissure looking right at home in that Vancouver clutch factor style gameplay. Another tank highlight for you, Hotba was lighting the kill feed on fire with his Diva bombs, finding the backline, placing the attacking side into no-win situations between a rock and a bomb place. I will note, not a huge fan of Hotba's defense matrix usage, but the offensive-minded player showed off his ability to get eliminations this past weekend. And if you break down here, the problem with needing to use defense matrix for poke is that with 1.5 second delay before you can use it again, that's when all of the big abilities are going to come out, in this case Blizzard. But with a 3-second thrusters cooldown, Hoppa can bail right out of there and punish the follow-up on the Blizzard anyway. Who needs clutch defense matrix plays if you can just send the enemy back to spawn, am I right? Another King's Row highlight, this one is Slime swapping to the Brigitte pick, which I thought worked out quite well as long as you don't have to reposition in the fight. We're getting tons of value, but this big play was an Earth Shatter block where Slime whips up the shield to save 2 teammates behind him. If the Shatter Stun comes through, the Nano can't come out, and this whole team fight likely crumbles up against the enemy's Blizzard. But still standing after the Shatter block, Twilight's Ana can just put out tons of value from the back from safety. Back to some DPS highlights for you. Everybody loves a good Junkrat clip, am I right? Junkrat, one of the best ways to counteract an enemy Symmetra teleport strat. Enemies want to clump up, well, Doha's grenades and mines sure do like that positioning, punishing the Symmetra and her team for trying to clump up together. Just sniff out where the teleporter is and fire in that general direction. Ends up working out. You guys know I appreciate a good Junkrat play. Takes a very high IQ to master this hero, I'll have you know. The Shock do abandon the Symmetra, but pathing down the middle allows for Gamsu's halt to clump up the backline, and just a gross amount of damage from Doha's Junkrat sends both supports back to spawn. That high skill gameplay resulted in Dallas Field taking the map, ending the Shock's long map win streak that carried over from last year. More high skill DPS action for you. Okay, maybe not the hardest of plays, but ones that all of us, I think, can replicate, because a lot of Reaper's gameplay is just timing. And against the Eternal, who have quite the breakout McCree All-Star in Xe, Surefour shows off why the Reaper matchup is more fair, or even maybe favored in the Reaper's favor if he flanks correctly. So you can use Shadow Step to either go on an elaborate flank that the enemy won't see, or used more as a dive tool to Shadow Step directly onto the opponent. On this bridge retake, Kariv applies the nano boost through the Shadow Step animation, which just means poor Xe isn't going to have the stats to kill past it. And Reaper's shotguns just love those square-sized hitboxes McCree has. Shadow Step, a great flanking tool, but one that you're going to have to use teamwork to optimize, teleporting right onto the enemy as your team goes in, creating a very fast pincer attack, where if you just go in alone when your team's not ready, well, you're gonna get clowned on. So be sure to be teleporting teleporting in safely, because that lifesteal nerf does hurt Reaper, but his shotguns and cooldowns are so effective that he's still a strong meta component. And the last play I wanted to break down today, Super, the most stable main tank player in the league, here playing without a Lucio in a brawl-centered ride the cart style comp, doesn't really feel any urgency to go chase down this ult angle from the Dallas Fuel, and is just happy to escort the cart along. And another highlight, which is pretty much carried by Architect's Ana, punishing Thrill in the Fire Strike animation, putting him to sleep, setting all this up, but it's also Super's management of this situation that cleans up the whole team fight. You see, with the enemy split, rushing to go touch cart, Super can exploit the Baptiste, who got abandoned by his team, and Super's clean decision-making is always just so beautiful to watch. Attempts to set up the double Fire Strike by getting behind the Baptiste, but this chasing pin brings him to the heart of the team fight. One of the few times it's good to do a long distance pin when it's pinning back towards your team into safety. Get Super the full team cleanup, which is what Reinhardt's hammer does when the enemy's main healer has gone down. Well, guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. Short, sweet, to the point, little different from how we normally do it. Let us know in the comment section down below how you like this faster tempo video. We are gonna keep doing the deep dives as well, just something that I felt like trying out. So let us know your feedback in the comment section and on Twitter, where you can find us at Your Overwatch YT. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave it a like, and don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the bell icon to actually get notified when our videos go live. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for Your Overwatch. We'll see you guys next time.
Jjonak holding on to the nano boost for now, biding his time, and now it's go time. One slash comes out, Jaru falls, he finds a second one. Oh my word! Haxel, an absolute legend. 5 kills for him, with the assist from the legendary Jjonak as well. And the Vancouver Titans are going to get the completion with 2 minutes 40.